320 representing JVS. I just wanted to talk about something with you guys because one of my close friends, my man Mo from Earth 2 Comicast, he was asking my opinion about the new Pacific Rim Uprising. I watched it last night with Joe. I have not done my review yet. I did do a small reaction on Stardust. You can check that out. The film itself, I mean, briefly, I'll say that Boyega and the young girl did a great job with the roles they were given. The scenes and the set pieces between the middle to the end, I appreciate it from a continuity standpoint based on the franchise. But the thing is, at my home, I have a 4K TV, and I just got Pacific Rim in 4K because my wife bought it for me, right? And so we looked at it, and like, I had never seen something so beautiful. Like, it looks amazing. It's one of the best looking films that I've seen on a television, right? And I know you got like great films like, you know, Ex Machina, you know, The Revenant, of course. I don't think they've up converted it to 4K yet, but of course Avatar. They do have Inception. Joe bought that for me for my birthday. There's so many great films that have great CG. I mean, probably the last and least one was War for the Planet of the Apes. I mean, what they did with that was mind-blowing. So I'm not denying that. But when I looked at something like, you know, Pacific Rim, one of the things that, you know, the first memories I had of Pacific Rim, not just the fact that Guillermo del Toro was the one that was directing it, as much as I love Pan's Labyrinth, but I remember seeing this poster, right, of this, what I didn't know at the time. I was like, this a Gundam? Is this, you know, a giant robot? What is this? I saw this robot with this freaking boat, like literally in his hands, like, and it was just dragging it along the street. And it was like, when I finally saw the trailer, when I finally saw the first trailer, right, and the trailer, everything that I could have even imagined from a visual immersion standpoint, it just was detailed and polished. Every punch, every like hit, everything from the mechanics and the organic side of things that were happening, it just grabbed me. You know what I'm saying? Like, if like, I remember one thing only, it was just like that oil tanker that they had and they used it like a sword. That was just amazingly captivating, right? And so I looked at Pacific Rim Uprising last night, and I was sitting there, I was like, okay, Pacific Rim came out in 2013, right? And I knew like how amazingly gripping and organic and fleshed out these fights, and the way the Jaegers and the Kaiju were used as characters in and of themselves from a CGI immersion standpoint, right? And so I looked at the movie and I was like, man, I'm spoiled. Because I'm sitting there, like, I came from home looking at it in 4K. I went and I saw this in IMAX specifically to see it as the best quality ever, and it wasn't there. That is my real gripe with Uprising, is that the quality of the CG was nowhere near what it should have been. And I mean, I can give you another case example, honestly. When I looked at Justice League, right? And I mean, I'm not even gonna spout about the whole Superman mustache thing, because I mean, you know what can I do about that? But there were certain scenes that I was like, man, this is choreographed well, it looks great. But that third final act and the fight and the things that were happening, and the same thing happened in Suicide Squad, the CG and the VFX, it didn't look good. Like, it looked like it was just splish-splashed all over the place. And I was kind of like, why is that? I was like, why is it that when I think back to Batman vs Superman, I don't think that, you know, the CG looked bad. Like, I don't. You know what I'm saying? Between Batman vs Superman and Civil War, the CG was on par. I even think that certain parts of Batman vs Superman, the CG was even better than Civil War. And that's not me comparing anything. I'm just talking about practical visual immersion. One of the best things about Avatar was the fact of the sensory 3D immersion. But on top of the 3D is that it was polished and detailed to every minute section of every pixel. If I go and I put Avatar right now on Blu-ray on my 4K TV, it would still beat some of the films that I have right now on Blu-ray. And I'll say this. Spider-Man Homecoming. as much as I enjoy Spider-Man Homecoming, right? There was never a time in Spider-Man Homecoming that I didn't feel like Peter's outfit was CG. Same thing with Black Panther. I love Black Panther. I gave Black Panther a 10 out of 10. I love that joint. But when I compare the suit that he had in Civil War versus the suit that he had later on with the kinetic effects, which as much as the effects were dope, there was never a point in my head that I was like, this is a real suit. I knew that that wasn't real. And I mean, I debated the merits whether or not it was actually, you know, Chadwick and Michael B actually in those suits until I saw the behind the scenes. And so I was like, so how is that possible? You got movies that are like banking, man, like making money, and like going up with budgets of like 300, 250 million, you know, and it's like, how are these not the most tightest and best immersion experiences that we've ever had? And I'm not gonna blame 3D. I'm not even gonna blame IMAX or Dolby, because as much as like we love the visuals, we love the immersion and the different things, you know, maybe people just don't pay attention to the quality, but that's not true, because when you look at a 4K film, like, you can see the details. So that's not it. I can't put that on that. I just think that there was a report that I looked at, and I think that I wish I had it referenced here. I apologize, I don't have it read. I'm kind of driving right now. But the report basically, I'm gonna paraphrase. It stated that back between 1999, when The Matrix started, up until maybe 2010, like what CGI was and VFX, they would spend years working on set pieces, working on designs. Like, these VFX and CG animators were getting paid so much money just to make sure that these small scenes that could never be actually done were possible, you know. And I mean, I can definitely take, you can look at Avatar and Pacific Rim, because those were basically full, you know, CGI immersion. But then you look at films like, you know, The Dark Knight and Inception, you don't think of those films and think CG. You don't. Like, you think that those are realistic things that just look like craziness. And I can tell you there's CG in Inception, absolutely. So how is it that, you know, back then, like, they were getting paid all this kind of money, buku. Now you got a market, and this is what the report's talking about. You got a market that every film now, in some way, shape, or form, is in 3D, needs animation, needs VFX, needs touch-up animation, needs some kind of CG. So it's like a saturation of VFX and CG work that's required, but the actual utilization of those employees is just terrible. From what the report said is that they're getting paid half what they normally would or should be getting paid. They don't have any kind of time to actually make a really good crafted film because they don't have the tools, the time, or the resources or manpower to get these things done. And on top of that, you got the deadline. I think that's the most key thing right there. Imagine where, you know, if you work on a project for a whole year, right? And somebody tells you, I need you to get this done in 3 months. And you're thinking, all right, I'm gonna cut every single corner I can to get that done because I need to make sure I keep my job. I need to make sure I get this product out, but it will never be as efficient as it actually really should be, right? So I think that there's some truth to that article, man. Like, I can see it. I can see it. I can see it all over the film industry. There are certain movies that, you know, like I said, are these amazing, masterful base films. Like, I think Blade Runner 2049 is a great example of great directing, acting, but full immersion and time-studied CGI work with the immersion of the we're shooting ourselves in the foot. Well, I don't even say if we. The studios are shooting themselves in the foot because it's evident at certain times now that people are comparing quality movies all the time. They are looking at things to nitpick about. Negativity is on the high rise. if a movie, right, is great, people will talk about it and they'll love it. But if a movie is bad, they won't stop talking about it. They will continuously grind and bitter every chance they possibly can get. Hold on, you guys. I'm sorry. My wife's trying to hit me up, and I don't have my other phone. I don't think. Oh, man. Well, you know what? I gotta go. I gotta go because my wife needs me. I'm not sure what it's about. But let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about these things I've been talking about. I just really feel like something has to change, or else we're gonna continue to get in like these one-hit wonders, or like these maybe 2 films that are just kind of great, versus pushing the envelope to the utmost of making sure that these VFX, these animators, these artists are given ample amount of time to get these done. But when you got like movies like from Marvel or DC or whatever, we got 4 movies that come out a year and the same artists are working on it with different teams, it's impossible. And I don't know what they're gonna do. I really don't know what they're gonna do. And I think that honestly, the studios should set an example by being like, okay, we're gonna do kind of like the 3 movies back to back to back. The next year we're gonna have 1, and then the next year we're gonna fall back up. That way they can at least give them a good 2-year gap time frame. Imagine if a studio, which it did with Pacific Rim, had 3 years to work on VFX for a film. Like, I would love to hope that the new Battle Angel is gonna have that ample amount of time. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, just let me know what you guys think about that. I gotta go. Leave a like if you enjoyed this conversation. If you want me to go into more detail, I'll do another part 2 about it. I gotta be attending to my family. Keep it locked. JVS, we ain't gonna stop. You have a blessed one. Peace, guys.